So, as per usual, here's the agenda. We're going to go over the pulse. If we don't have a small group, we'll keep together probably today. Last week we had a bigger group, but we'll probably stay together. We'll do some sort of collaboration or brainstorming on things, and then we'll just share different stuff. But the goal for this is creating a space for go-to-market professionals to share, learn, explore, drive innovation. This is a no pitch zone. With that being said, if you're associated with the tech and if I bring you up or if I ask you a question, then you absolutely can talk about your tech. But this is not a place where you're going to be pitched. I just get to share results and insights and that kind of stuff and be a place where you can just enjoy the AI wonder coming out of my voice. How about that?
Yeah.
Some of you here last week, but very quickly about me. If you don't know this, I'm going to educate you really quickly. So here's the companies. There's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. I have either consulted or I have been an advisor for, both with a product or go-to-market strategy or something like that. So those are the ones. I'm also starting literally next Tuesday, the Bryant University Executive Education, do an AI 100 course for them. And then obviously the GTM Academy. So if you're ever wondering how I can help you, is this ways here. Either the Academy is about 200-ish people in there-ish. There's the podcast, newsletter, and obviously the AI Pulse, which is today. So just as an FYI of what we are doing here, and I'm actually be changing some things with the Academy that I'll talk about probably later, but not right now. All right, now today, oh, that was weird. We're going to go over these 4 things. So we covered OpenAI Dev Day last week. I'm going to talk about a little bit different things today. And then there's reports I wanted to go over from different sources that I think would be good for all of you to be aware of and to understand and make sure you're abreast of. So obviously OpenAI Dev Day, there's the Boston Consulting Group report, which actually came out in August, but it comes in line with what I want to show today. There's a place called GAI Insights. I connected with the CEO a month ago, Paul Bayer. He's awesome. They have the latest report, and then the Deloitte report, which literally came out 2 days ago. So I want to make sure we have all those information. I'll share in the main, what's it called? Slack. I'll share in the main Slack channel all these reports. If you want to have access to them, you can read them yourself and dive in if you want to. All right. If you have not been aware, I'm sure you have, the latest thing has been agents. So you have Agent AI, which is HubSpot's house of agents. Then you have Agent Force, obviously with Salesforce. Here's the timeline from OpenAI. This is how they think about our future of where we are. We are approximately right here, and this is where we are going. So a lot of people have chatbots, reasoners, agents, that kind of stuff, and I'm going to walk through what that means. Actually, all right, I want to make sure I put this in context so you're thinking, okay, what the crap does agents mean and how does that apply to us? So let me show you the befores and afters. So here's a process of qualifying a sales lead. If you're in enablement, you're very familiar with this process. It's like a human gathers info, does outreach, identifies pains and needs, logs in CRM, and then manually follows up. That's the old school way. Right now, there's the next level, which is you have a human using Claude or ChatGPT or some other chatbot. And so they still gather information. Then they go to ChatGPT or Claude and do an email draft. They have questions drum up from them. You have a human uses Claude to summarize the transcript, and then the human does the follow-up. So still is human based. A lot of people are still in this category. Now, a lot of tech coming out with some sort of agent or automation flow is where the AI agent gets the information for you. Then they get an outreach draft for the human to approve. The AI suggests questions and helps the human know what to ask about the industry information. The AI agent logs in the CRM for them. The human can review and make sure it's good. And then the AI agent does the follow-up and the human supervises. So a little bit different shift of who's responsible for the task. And then lastly is when you have multi-agents for the same thing, think about that same process, but like you have multi-agents for each step. So for example, there's an agent that's only over lead enrichment. So they do the research, they use Perplexity, they use whatever stuff to get industry, persona, all that stuff. And then they hand it over to another agent, which is about making sure the outreach is up to date with the latest information. Then that agent tells the next agent, which is helping the sales process. And then you have another agent that logs CRM or automates it to wherever it needs to go. And then lastly, does the follow-up. So that's the crazy part. This is just with one task workflow, by the way. When you think about it from a sales in general of what multi-agents can do, it's going to look more like this crazy thing where you have an agent for lead generation, research agent, outreach agent, conversational agent, analytics, strategy, content, scheduling, and all this gets down into a CRM, which goes into your CRM agent. And the crazy thing about this is that all the agents talk to each other about what's going on. And the humans at the center of it managing this AI workforce of people doing all the stuff they would have done before. Next level of that, which if you remember from the OpenAI thing, talking about organizational agents, would look more like this. Where it's like you have someone over sales doing all these processes, and you have enablement, finance, marketing, customer success, are all crisscrossing and talking. The next level of this, which I actually don't have, I probably should do this for next week, is when you have this organization. So let's just say this is a buyer's organization, right? And they analyze the needs of the buyer of trying to get to a tech. Then they go out to the other organization's AI tech, which is you could say as a sales agent, but another AI tech that's then giving information so that AIs talk to each other about, I need this, I have this, does this work? I don't know, let's work it out. And they prepare a buying experience based off of agents instead of humans. Not saying it's going to take over completely, but this is like where things are going. Does that make sense? And you think about these two organizations, whatever customers like Apple talking to Uber and saying, hey, we need some things. And then the bots just talk to each other about whatever they need and it takes care of it for you, which is crazy because the HR bot or the travel bot of whatever organization reaches out to the services bot of Uber and it pops up the plan and sells and all that stuff. Kind of
Right.
crazy. All right, moving forward. I want to make sure we have time for questions. I'm going to zip through this stuff. So this is from the BCG, again, back in August. If you have not seen this, very insightful and interesting stuff. I'm going to go over some highlights, which is this, like where they see things going. Again, mimics some of the things that we've been talking about from an agent point of view. But, we're currently here, what's more of augmented, but it's going to be more of an going to assist / autonomous. This whole avatar thing is going to be crazy. Like I never thought there'd be a world where I could do research in 5 minutes or build out an ICP in 5 minutes, but the world exists. So to say that there's a world that doesn't exist that has avatars that I'll be talking to, I don't know. Like it could be. So I don't know. It can or cannot happen. So it's going to be a crazy thing about the possibilities. Now this is complex. Again, you're going to need some time to go through this, but this is diving in from their point of view of like where AI would be put into based on the sales journey or sales process. So you can see there's assistant here, there's content generators, engineer, copilot, like all this stuff happens real time. And looking at this and seeing all the things that AI could be taking over or taking on, to me, it makes sense then that as long as humans, and Jaco kind of talked to this before, whoever's going to release the funds, if humans are in charge of releasing the funds, you'll require another human to be in conversation with them to release the funds, which means that salespeople have to be really good at relationships because everything else is going to be automated. And the world where you have 6-figure deals being run by AI, I don't know if that world would exist anytime soon, but at least for smaller stuff or at least for cheaper stuff, I don't know why this wouldn't happen sooner than later. It'll be cool to see. Right now, it's kind of Frankenstein, meaning that it's not in a point where I can ask one platform to make me this agent that would handle my sales for me. We don't have that, but it's coming. Does that make sense? Right now, you have to Frankenstein around and use 3 or 4 different techs to do this kind of stuff, but there's going to be a world where this could be more cohesive. Again, this is AI team members. So again, something to think about from a point of view. Right now, a lot of this is done via prompt. So if I wanted to have a solutions engineer, I have a prompt for that, but eventually there's going to be an agent who I don't have to prompt, who's already quote unquote trained on my stuff and then can just do the stuff automatically for me, which is crazy. Then there's going to be there's more traditional where you have decision maker, which is over here. And on the right side is more of the future of where we're going of augmentation and automation, which is a fascinating thing I thought was pretty cool. And then right here, this is the thing I wanted to make sure you in enablement saw is that they're saying 90% of it is on change management, not on the tech. And the people who are usually responsible for change management is enablement. So this is one reason I've been preaching to the choirs about this. And my guys, it's going to come to a point where it's going to be on our skill set as enablement people to shift the gears around AI and how it can truly show impact and also transform companies to the next level. All right. Any questions on any of this stuff? I'm going to keep going if you're good. Everyone good? All right. Moving on. All right. So this is from, GAI Insights. So Paul, their goal is to become like the Gartner of AI stuff. So just be aware of where their research is. I highly recommend you follow them. They have some great stuff, very high level stuff. But in general, I'm going to cover some of the basics. So this is their WINS framework, which I'm not going to go into too much detail, but this is talking about which companies or which industries will have the most impact. As you can see here, obviously either high, low, how fast, how slow, that kind of stuff. And then what they identified was this, which is in the crucible is this: software, professional services, education, entertainment. I would also put enablement because obviously we're in the education world and performance, I should say. Then down here is like the home decor, real estate development, addiction services. I love actually the thought, because I used to work with addicts, of using some sort of AI around mental health and recovery. There's some pretty fascinating studies with that. And there's also, I don't know if you saw it from the last thing, but I'm going to go back to education. They did this study at Harvard with students who did physics. an advanced physics class using an AI bot, a ChatGPT-4 chatbot, going through a course, and then people with just humans in a group, regular lecture style, Socratic method training. And the people who used AI performed better on everything than the usual human thing, which is a crazy study. And it was legit gone through Harvard. We just published that last week in the newsletter, which is crazy. Left side is obviously dry cleaning, spa services, house painting, some of the more, I would say, manual work. Eventually, bots will be created to where, like literally robots who have AI intelligence will be able to execute some of these things. But again, we're not quite there yet. It's getting close. We're not there. Bottom up value. I love this. Looking at how you look at it from your point of view is like looking at what are the tasks. Very pragmatic, very practical start. Where the heck do we start? Which is what are the tasks we need done? A lot of people that I'm finding in general, and you enablement would appreciate this, is that most people do not document their tasks or process. So a lot of times AI adoption is difficult because they've never identified what the heck the process or tasks are. Once you have that, AI is easy. But the biggest part, honestly, of any AI adoption is really identifying what the heck is your flow and process and what does that look like? So here's the, again, a high level P&L thing of like where we're at now versus where they think we're going to be going. Crazy. Again, some of this will take you some time to go through, but you'll see the differences here. Like they're both looking at a profit and revenue increase as a result of some sort of AI adoption. I'm going to keep going through this because we have a lot more to go through. Deloitte just released a report 2 days ago on the 8th about board level stuff. To give you some understanding, this is their stuff. 468 board members, C-suite executives in the different countries. Here's the regions. Here's the industries. And here's the survey stuff. So I want to make sure you know where the information was coming from. You have some clue. So again, take this with the mind of strategic high-level board level conversations, not obviously the ground level salesperson conversation. That's more of the Boston Consulting Group. So many organizations, AI is really discussed at the board level. This is fascinating to me. Not yet on the agenda. 2 is this. Half response want their boards to be devoted more AI insights or oversight, I should say. Concerns, not satisfied, neutral, somewhat, very satisfied. So a big chunk of them is in the neutral to negative. Half the respondents, organizations need to accelerate progress. Very satisfied, need to accelerate. So a lot of people are like, we are not even close. Then you have 80% see the boards have limited knowledge. This is crazy. Again, these are just things I'm like, holy Hannah. Boards are exploring avenues to AI in fluency, which means like this. Very interesting to see this, adding an AI Gen I specialist through new board directors. Fascinating. Yep.
So GTM AI Academy is an opportunity to be a board member. That's an interesting twist.
Or I'm just going to create a course where people can learn how to do it and become one themselves. That's the ultimate goal.
That's brilliant.
That's the goal. That's right. My goal is to enable people so they can be this instead of the academy. The academy's not, I don't want the academy to be the board members. I want you to be the board members. So that makes sense?
Yeah.
But this is right now, the thing that's important to note though, is that because of where we're at, this is a good thing because it means that they're not there yet. In the next year, this is going to dramatically change. Yes. But right now is the time to be aware of this because they'll be, I'm assuming, they'll either have someone who's consulting the board on this kind of stuff who understands this, or there'll literally be someone on the board who understands this. One of the two. Make sense? 6, this is interesting as well. How much is being incorporated over the next 12 months? A lot of experimentation, some focus, but not incorporated. Fascinating. And I would bet if you looked at the ground level, what would be fascinating to look at is if you did a poll of, in fact, I think there's a study on this somewhere, I have to find it, of like individuals who are using AI in their own instance, like they bring your own bot and it's on their phone or on a personal laptop. I bet you it's like way bigger than this, but from a board level, they're obviously a little bit disconnected. Productivity and efficiency enhancements. This is what they're looking at as far as what is the most top reasons respondent organizations are leveraging AI. Number 1, productivity and efficiency. Number 2 is customer experience. And then products or innovations. Super interesting. Right here, management response organizations say advancement to tech. So this is very interesting as well. Seeing the focus, areas of focus. Obviously, technology, they got to figure out what the heck they're doing, but I would say probably this. I would say 2 things. So they want to look at how do we get more productive and efficient. That's where the money is coming in for tech. And then 2 is just the customer experience. And Klarna is a great example of that. If you've ever seen that case study, which is fascinating, how they reduced a ton of costs and automated a bunch of things from a customer experience point of view for their customers. And then this one is, I think, the last slide, which is most response to customers and employees are most important stakeholders to consider. So the question lies in of who cares? What I see as a result, kind of like a summary, is that strategic importance of AI for business transformation is like in all 3 reports is very evident. 2 is challenge in implementation. This is loud and clear. People are not clear on how do I trust it? How do I keep it private? What's the ethics and how do we govern this stuff? And that's still, by the way, a very Frankenstein answer to that, because a lot of tech is you have to use several different platforms to make sure that some things are. And I would say also, this is something important to note, is that you need to look at technologies, if you're ever looking at tech, that is SOC 2 compliant, SOC 2 type 2 and SOC 2 type 1, depending on the AI tech. Most of them are, I would say. I've seen a lot of tech people I've been consulting are that, but just to make sure you are aware, this is really important. One of the things to be note of, OpenAI has an agreement with vendors who use their technology, and I think Claude does as well, that when they sign it, it says that they don't use the information that the company gets. So if GTM AI had some sort of bot, that the agreement is OpenAI does not use the information I gather through my product using their technology to train their models. So there is an opt-out of it, and you always want to make sure you're asking for that so the organization that you're talking to has that agreement. Next up is focus on industry needs and application, obviously, but this is what has been really interesting, is that you're going to have that base level thing like OpenAI that can apply to anything, but the magic is going to be in the industries or the use cases you have, because we need to focus on where it could actually impact, because it all starts at the ground level. What are the tasks? What are the processes? And that starts at the very ground level and it works its way up as you go, right? Like you're looking at qualifying sales leads through AI, and then you implement that over across sales, and you implement that across an organization, and then it just expounds from there. But it's going to be, what I know from AI prompting is that the more context I can give it, the better it performs. So the narrower you can focus in AI, the better it is. So if you have more industry specific stuff, it's going to be better for you. Leadership and cultural alignment is obviously key. From board numbers, you can see that. And my last thing is, so what? So AI maturity equals market leadership. So the more you're able to help a team be mature in your AI journey, the more you'll be able to lead the market in either productivity, efficiency, whatever the case might be. Next up is how does a product or company manage the risk involved with AI? And anybody you talk to when it comes to AI, you need to make sure this is a conversation you have around the risk. And that usually comes down to privacy and governance and all that kind of stuff. And then I think this is one more, data-driven decisions is no longer an option.